Hey there, my Possum Michigan Avenue artists. Today we're going to continue from where we left off last week. So again, we're doing one section at a time, and I'm going to start with this one because guess what? I made a boo-boo last week and I actually drew in the wrong direction, so I'm going to kind of cover that up. Move this down so you can see better. So to do this project for the value, we're going to lightly shade in, and I'm using the side of my pencil. Okay, then I'm going to skip the next little section, and then I'm going to shade again. And then I skip one and shade again. Now it's very important that we go one section at a time, because I tell you, every time somebody says, oh, I know what I'm doing, and they go ahead and they want to go into the next section and they just want to go bouncing around, that's when we end up with mistakes. Okay, and that's what I did earlier. I went and I rushed it, so I made a mistake. And hey, we're all human, so it's okay. But this will just make it easier and you'll be a lot more successful. Now, you can use, it's your choice, if you have colored pencils that you brought, and you want to use those, you can use those. Or if you've got your own pencil that you prefer, use that. I'm just using a regular number 2 pencil, and I'm just shading in, and notice I'm skipping every other one. Also, notice the direction. I'm not going across. I'm literally just going from top to bottom in that section, and I'm skipping, so every other one is blank. Okay, now if you have little sections that you miss, it's okay. Go back in. And I've got one more section here to do. Now, okay, that doesn't look very three-dimensional yet, but watch, here's where the magic happens. I'm taking my pencil, and on the dark, on the ones that we shaded in, what we're going to do is we're going to start out here, and we're going to shade a little bit more towards the outer edge. Just a little bit. Okay? So you shade just a little bit more towards the outer edge, and you're adding that value. See how all of a sudden it's starting to look a little bit dimensional. And all I'm doing is just adding that next layer of value, just like we did when we did our value scale. So you shade going over it, a little bit darker at the outer edge. And remember what I said about how if we start out too dark, it's hard to go backwards. So you want to start out with a lighter value, and then you can go darker anytime you want. Okay, and over here. Now, I want to really get that value to really give that illusion. So watch what I'm going to do. In these white spaces, very, very lightly, I'm going to put just the tiniest hint. Remember, like from that very first box when we did our value scale? I'm just putting the tiniest hint of value along the outside edge, and then I'm letting the rest stay white. So see how all of a sudden it's starting to look a little bit more dimensional. And like I said, you can always go a little darker if you need to. Now, in the next section we're doing, okay, since this one was shaded in already, we're going to leave that one white, and then we're going to shade the next one, leave this white, and shade. So it's going to end up kind of like how a checkerboard, but it's going to be a distorted checkerboard because, hey, we're doing wedges. Okay, but you see how I'm skipping every other one. And this is why it's important to go from section to section. Finish one whole wedge before we move on. And I'm not going so dark that I can't go back and erase if I go into the other sections. Okay, we'll do one more here, and then I'll go ahead and I'll pause the video so you guys have time to work, and then we'll come back to it and we'll see. And it's going to take time. You're not necessarily going to get this done all in one class period. It may take 2 class periods to do this whole thing, and that's okay. Okay, so now, again, we've got that done. So for the darker value, remember we're going to start on the outer edge, and it'll gradually lighten up. Okay, oops, ran over into the other section. And again, don't panic if you make a mistake. These come out really beautiful when they're finished. Okay, so now I'm going to touch up my little spots where I ran over. So now see how it's starting to look rounded? So now I'm going to go back in and I'm going to add that light value around the edge of my white sections. So what this is doing is it's creating the illusion that you've got this striped section and maybe the light is hitting it. So see how it's looking more three-dimensional already? That's pretty cool. Okay, so continue doing one section at a time. You got to start in the middle and go all the way out. Don't skip around, because that's when, like I said, that's when we start having mistakes, and then you get frustrated, and I don't want you to get frustrated. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pause the video here, give you time to work, get as much done as you can, but you don't have to rush it. Okay, real quick, I just wanted to show you 3 different methods that you can use when you're doing this, okay, when you're doing our value scale illusion. I wanted you to see the different types you can get. So this one is pencil, okay? So all I did was I just did dark at the edges, just like I showed you in the rest. Now, if you wanted to use crayon, you could use crayon. Same idea, but you'd have to be really careful because crayon's not going to erase like the pencil would. Now, if you decided you wanted to use markers and crayon and pencil, that would be cool too. And what I did here was I started out, I did black marker for the black sections. Then I went back in with colored pencil. So you could use colored pencil instead of the crayon if you wanted. But what I did was I took a white colored pencil and put it in the middle. So I did the opposite. Instead of starting with the value on the outside darker and then going lighter, I put the white in the middle as dark as I could get it over that marker, and then gradually went lighter. Okay? So you've got a couple of options, and it's a fun project to do. And here's another sample. This one's not finished, but this one was colored pencil and marker. And for this one, I didn't do the alternating concave and convex. For this one, I just did convex all the way around. But we're doing the concave and convex. So I hope you all had a great day, and I'll see you on the flip side.